guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. Glad you're here. A good friend of mine and I decided we wanted to just have a conversation and see where things go. But I haven't done a collab with him for a while, and we both kind of miss talking to each other. So without further ado, my friend Orlando. Hey, Orlando, how are you?
Hey, Darren, I'm doing great. Thanks for
Great.
asking me to come on with you today.
Absolutely.
And
No, I
just,
appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I know you're a humble guy, so I'll do the intro that I know that you won't brag about it, but Orlando is not only the newest YouTube Hall of Famer, he also is like Mariano Rivera. He has the highest percentage of votes ever of any Hall of Famer, as well as the highest total number of votes of any Hall of Famer. So Orlando is our top tier Hall of
thank you.
Famer. So congratulations with that. That's awesome. Totally
Um,
well deserved.
I'm totally just in shock. I mean, who would have ever thought that I would have the most votes? I'm just honored. It's just incredible the kind of love that's been spread in this community, and it's the best thing for me in I would say my entire collecting history. This is probably the biggest honor, biggest thing that I've received. And I've gotten like little awards from PSA because I was number one on the registry, so I send you little pins and things. But you know what? This comes from the people. It comes from you guys. And we were going to talk a little bit about YouTube and things like that. And now doing it for a while, it's easy, but it's not easy. I
Mm,
mean, you know, you can go ahead and put out videos. Anybody can go ahead and put out videos, but to do it on a consistent basis, it gets hard because life gets in the way sometimes. So you know, I appreciate all the people that do that, and you're one of them.
I
And I try to
appreciate
put
that.
out videos as often as I can. But I have an advantage because I'm retired, so I don't have the day-to-day job. Other than well, taking care of my mom and stuff like that. But you know, it's uh, it's just an honor to be you know even considered, and then to be inducted with, I think it was 95 votes or something like that. I mean,
95.
that's a lot of guys that I'm
Yeah,
friends with.
I'd say that's awesome, right? Because if you think about it, that's 95 YouTube base sports card collectors that have been making videos for over a year. 95 of them voted for you. So that's pretty. I can't even think of 95
Yeah,
channels off
I
the top
would
of
have
my head.
never. Yeah,
No, that's
there were
fantastic.
even channels. There were a couple of channels that, and I try to follow everybody. There was a couple of channels that voted for me, and I didn't even subscribe to them. So I mean, that's and it's sometimes, and you get people that that told me, well, I knew you were going to be in, so I'd rather vote for somebody else, because there were so many good channels, and I'm good with that, because really I could have voted for 20 channels.
Mhm.
There's so much good content out there right now. I think it's more than ever. I mean, I've only been at this a little over 3 years, and it's just during this my time that I've come in, it's just been good channel after good channel, and just it keeps getting better and better. And that's really the best thing about the community. That's what I want to see, and I think that's what everybody else wants to see. And give those shout outs and stuff, and
I agree.
make more friends. And that's what I love about it.
100%. Yeah, it is. When I think about just the number of people I've met at the between Strongsville last year and the national this in 2024 that didn't have channels when I started, right? I have a ton of new friends that I've made in the last year. And like when I think about how the Hall of Fame voting is going to go over the next like 2 or 3 years, it's going to be ridiculous because you've got so many great channels eligible next year, and then even more than that the year after.
Yeah,
It's
and you have channels that just barely miss, like my Junk Wax Hero. He's in next year. I mean,
mhm.
he's got to be in. Plus, all the new guys that are coming in, Greg and from Midlife and everybody else. I mean, Chris from Missouri. I mean, there's so many
Yeah.
guys that are just coming in and new, and we'll see. I hope that they all get in, but I'd like to see some of these older guys get in, some of the ones that have been around for forever, and they don't put out as much content, but they're still out there, and I think
Mhm.
they need to get some. And I talked to Jake about that a little bit, so he's going to make the changes. As you know, Brad is going to be consulting with him on that.
Mhm.
So everybody's kind of giving a little bit of advice here and there, and I talked to John Mangini, also, and hopefully, we can do something to help. Whether it's a veterans committee that can vote in some of the veterans or something like
Mhm.
that. I think we got to come up with something because it's going to get. I mean, it was hard enough this time around to get in. I mean, if you've had a lot of great guys that just missed. I mean,
Mhm.
you have Shane, Shoebox Legends. You have tons of these guys that were just within, you know, 4 or 5 votes,
Right.
and then you've got so many other guys coming. So I think you got to have some kind of veterans committee. I guess that's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. I mean, it's we'll see how what the rules Jake puts in place, but it sounds like conceptually it sounds like a great idea, and hopefully it works out the way that everybody's wanting it to. I think that, but I agree with you. It you get to the point where there's so many new channels coming up eligible each year that you start to forget about some of the channels that were eligible years ago that haven't gotten in yet. And when you look at some of the votes, there's channels that are fantastic channels that have been around for a long time, and it's kind of like the real Hall of Fame, right? Like if you don't get the most votes right away, you might build up to it, but a lot of guys they kind of miss, and then they miss more, and they miss more, and they miss more, and then they're no longer even eligible, right? So hopefully the change will help fix that. Because I agree, there's a lot of great channels that aren't in yet. And I was watching your induction speech when Jake posted it, and I thought it was a great speech. And I know you mentioned family a lot in it, right? You retired to help take care of your dad, and when you did that, it kind of got you back into over time got you back into the hobby, and you started selling. And you mentioned how your daughter um you know convinced you to start doing YouTube videos. So it sounds like you're kind of similar to how I am, where you have a lot of family that's very supportive of it, and you know a lot of them that are supportive might not necessarily be interested in talking to you about it, but they're still supportive of um, you know, uh, of your hobby, right? And you mentioned that you used to talk to your dad a lot about baseball cards, and I was wondering, does doing YouTube kind of obviously not take the place? That's impossible to do, but by doing your YouTube channel, you're now able to have those conversations with people and talk about the new cards and show the excitement of making a new acquisition. Did that kind of help with that process for you?
Yeah, that always helps. You know, but I kind of switched over. Now I show all the cars to my mom. You know,
Nice.
she's 95 and doing great. She still
Awesome.
does. Thank God she does the treadmill 20 minutes a day.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Nice.
she's pretty healthy, thank God. And you know, she was the one that originally, when I moved out right after college, I moved out, and about 3 or 4 years later, my dad was cleaning out, and then found my cards, and my mom was like, well, hold on, don't throw that away. So she called me, and she was the one that really kind of got me back into it. And so for her to see me do this and see, basically, my family, we're close as a Latin family usually are,
Mhm.
and they see that I'm happy. And whatever it is that I would be doing, whether it's YouTube or something else, as long as they see me happy and me enjoying something, which is my hobby is what I enjoy, and they
Oh, yeah.
see me doing that, even though they're not fans of that. My two sisters don't collect cards, even though when I was a kid, they remember, you
Sure.
know, me collecting the cards, and they would eat the gum and stuff like that. But they never collected cards. My daughter didn't collect cards either. I mean, a little bit here and there. You know, I did take my kids to spring training, and you know, they have autographs of Frank Thomas and some players that they met during the spring training during those times. But other than that, they don't really collect cards. So, you know, for me, it's just that my family's happy that I'm happy. They see that it's something that I'm enjoying, and it's kind of, you know, really just kind of reinvigorated my entire life, not just my hobby, but my life, because now I have friends like you and other people that I'm able to talk to, and I'm able to show, you know, my cards to, and that really know what it is, you know, because I'll
Right.
show my mom a card, and you know, I have to tell her the whole story of it. But the good
Right.
thing is, you know, she's subscribed to my channel. She's got a little iPad, so she'll go ahead and see my videos every time I post them. I think she's one of the few that is watching my videos as far as my
Nice.
family, you know.
Nice.
But yeah, my daughter, she's you know, she does marketing and stuff. She has her own business, but she was the one that when I told her what I was thinking of doing, then she was the one that said, you know what, I'm going to set you up. So she set up the YouTube account, used the name that I use. A Collector's Dream is what I had when I was a dealer, my business, and she set it all up. And then on Christmas, she said, "Here it is, Dad. You got it."
Nice.
And she made a little video with her. She edited the whole thing. She brought one of those light boxes to the house, and you know, she did a whole fancy thing. She says, "I'm going to get you started." So then on the January 1st, we released the first video,
Nice.
and you know, it's just been a nice journey ever since. And you know, you wanted to talk a little bit about YouTube and the channel and things like that was one of the things we wanted to talk about. So, you know, and I guess the future of my channel, I think that was one of the things we wanted to talk about.
Absolutely. I mean, I think let's talk about actually before we jump into where your channel's going,
Yeah.
why don't one of the things, by the way, that you mentioned in your acceptance speech that I thought was great was letting people know that don't necessarily make content how much we appreciate them when they watch our videos and when they comment on our videos, right? Like that's I thought that was a really excellent point, right? Because you think about it when you make a video and because this happened to me a few times. I made a video and you know, you don't get any comments or you get like one comment for a little while and you're like, oh wow, that must have I thought that was good. Nobody really liked it. And then when people start commenting, like, oh nice, okay, good. I'm glad. So I thought that was a really good point you made of
Yeah.
just, you know, reinforcing not only, you know, we appreciate it when people comment, but also at the same time, if you have a collection and you're curious about making videos, you should just do it, right?
And even if you don't have a big collection or even a nice collection, it's just a way of expressing yourself, you know, getting yourself out there and making friends, you know, that, you know, people that really are just like you. I mean,
Mhm.
we're all collectors, even though we collect different things, we're still collecting is kind of like a community, you know. And
Mhm.
you know, I just think, you know, to give you an example, when I first started, I was going for like 3 months, and I had put out quite a bit of videos. I think there was one time at 2 months I had more videos than subscribers. I think I had like 15 videos and I had like 10 subscribers or something like that. After 3 months, I had 36 subscribers, and I'd put out, I don't know, maybe 20 videos, something like that. And I was getting very, I don't know, disappointed because I just thought, you know, I would get more than 36 subscribers after 3 months.
Mhm.
And I was talking to my daughter, and she's like, you know, well, you know, are you responding to all the comments? And I said, no, not really. I mean, I'm reading them and stuff, but, you know, not really responding and stuff. She says, well, that's what you got to do. You know, you got to get involved. You got to respond to those people. If they made an effort to contact you and tell you and watch your video, then you need to at least thank them, at least respond back. And I think that's what got me going. Once I started responding to the videos, then I felt like, you know, I'm watching these other people's videos, and they're probably going through the same thing I'm going through,
Mm,
you know, because for years I would watch videos, but I never commented on any of them really, you know. I mean, it was just kind of my personal account. I didn't have a collector's dream account set up, so
sure.
you know, you had no contact, no relationship with any of these guys. So you know,
Mm,
you just watched their videos. Baseball collector, you know, I'd watch his videos. You know, never commented, but you know, we'd watch them.
right.
And then as soon as I started commenting, all of a sudden, you know, you start getting people that comment back,
Yep.
and then you become almost like friends, you know, with
Mm,
these guys. And I think that's really what the community is all about. You know, it is about putting out some videos and putting out some good content, but it's also about you know, think about it. You get, even if you get 30 views, and I think Eddie said this himself. You know, Eddie's you know, the new Hall of Famer too.
yep. Eddie,
When
congratulations.
you know, he says 30 people saw your video. Imagine you're in this room, like a classroom, and you have 30 people there that are watching you.
Mm,
That's quite a bit. You know, you don't think about it that way, but that is, you know, that's a lot. You're entertaining 30 people for
mm,
whatever it is. You know, I mean, even today I get videos. I put out a wonderful video on one of the best museums that I've seen, and and I was there with Tony, Southern Collector, actually.
mm-hmm.
And what an incredible museum! I think it's gotten 250 views. And then I put out um, some video of my dollar boxes pulling out just junk wax from the 80s, and it's gotten 1,000 views.
Mm,
So it's like, you know, you just don't know. You know, I'm
yep.
showing Jackie Robinson signed cleats and balls and things in this museum, and people aren't even looking at that video for some reason.
Mm,
So, but you know, you never know what people want to see. But for me, you know, Darren, I'm not gonna put stuff out just because, you know, I want clicks or something like that. You know, what I'm putting out is just me and my journey. You know, if I'm going to go to a card show, I'm going to go ahead and show you where I'm at,
mm,
what I'm doing. You know, if I'm going to go out to, I went to, you know, see where the Negro League started. Uh, I went out there. I filmed the ballpark out there where the first game started. You know, because I wanted to see it myself. I figured, you
sure.
know, I might as well go ahead and share it. And that's kind of what it is. So I go to the museum. I'm going to show some of the museum. So to me, my channel is just more like my journey and kind of my life, you know, in the hobby. And as far as the cards, you know, whatever I feel like I'm going to pull out, I pulled out some Hank Aaron cards, and I made a video about that. You know, just because I
Yeah.
don't know, I just felt like I was looking at some of my Aaron collection to see because you know when we go to Strongsville, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, I hope.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm kind of trying to gather in my stuff together now and see, okay, what am I going to do? You know, I have to condense my collection because, Darren, I got a lot. I got a
Mhm.
lot of cards.
I know.
I mean, I got a
And
lot of
that's
cards,
awesome.
and tons that are raw. So,
Mm,
what am I going to do with all this stuff? So, I'm looking at what am I going to, you know, sell or trade to get the stuff that I really want to get because I can't. I'm not a Mike Petty. I can't just go out there and write a check, you
mm.
know, for a 5-digit card or whatever. You know, I don't have that kind of money.
A literal
So
check.
yeah, literal check. Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm retired. I'm on a Social
Mm,
Security, so you know, but I do have a lot of cards that I've accumulated over all my years.
mm.
So that's my route, and that's what I did last year at Strongsville. So I'm going
Yeah,
through my stuff now, pulling out things that I think I can, you know, do I love it or do I not love it? You know, have I looked at this card, you know, lately or do I, you know, so I'm kind of pulling some of that out
oh,
to
good.
either take to the trade night at Strongsville or to trade or sell with some of the dealers so I can pick up some of those or at least one of those big boy cards, you know, that you and Mike Petty like to get.
I mean, last year at Strongsville, you picked up an amazing card. You got the red Cobb polar bear back, and you got it exactly the way you said, right? You used your existing collection. You basically used cards as currency, right? You went to the show,
Yes, I
you
did.
brought the cards, you traded. you sold and you made some moves and you acquired that amazing cob. I think that was watching that process play out was I thought it was really really fun to watch. And I hope you do it again this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what you trade in and what you trade up for. Actually,
Yeah.
speaking of Strongsville, why don't we just kind of jump into that? Strongsville. Let's start with plans for Strongsville. Do you have um, any specific goal cards you're kind of chasing after that you want to try to find there? I know last year I had some goal cards and couldn't find them, so I was cranky the first day.
Yeah, I know. I remember that day. You went from having a bad day to all of a sudden having a great day the next day,
Right, it was
you know.
fun.
But sometimes it's just like you said before, you just got to break the ice.
Mm,
But for me, yeah, last year Strongsville was pretty exciting. I mean, because everything that I wanted to accomplish pretty much I was able to do. I took some pretty good cards, pretty big cards there to sell or trade, and I was able to do that. I was able to sell some stuff to Ash, and I was also able to sell a big card to Don, who was
mhm.
the football collector. So I actually sold him my one of my Beecher cards.
Yep, I remember.
So I picked up some money there, and also sold cards to a lot of the YouTubers over there.
Hmm.
You know, Jason, a few other guys, David, and a few people that are not YouTubers that I also sold some cards to. And that's the good thing about this community too. That people will uh, either email me. Usually, I get emails. I got an email yesterday from just one of my friends that just comments, doesn't do videos, says that he's looking for some Caramelo Deportivo cards, and if I can help him find them. So
Nice.
but it's just you get some good people, and so I was able to sell those cards, and for the most part get a lot of cash together, and I picked up the red Cobb polar bear, and a four, which was a beautiful
Yeah, I
card.
mean,
And
it's incredible.
I mean, I looked through pretty much every table there because I videoed all the tables.
Right, I
And
remember
then
that.
I went back to that table. That guy had four red cobs there and a couple of green cobs. And there was a couple other guys that had red cobs too. But that one was just so bright red, and it was a polar bear. And I didn't pay much more than a regular four for the polar bear back. And and it was made it a cash deal from one of my sales that I had done. And when you have the cash and tell a guy, here's the cash, I got the
Right.
cash, I'm ready to go. What can you do? And then we negotiated with that, and I got a pretty good deal with that. So I was able to have a little bit more money left over, and I picked up the Walter Johnson American Caramel.
Yeah, I remember.
Also, I picked up that one too, and a three, which was also a nice card. So those are two big pickups, and I picked up a few other little things here and there, but for the most part, that was it. And then I did a similar thing at the National, where I took a bunch of cards over there to sell
Hmm.
and to trade, and that was another one of those wild things because you never expected. I mean, I was going into the National. I had already done some deals,
Hmm.
and that's what I do. I try to do that, so it kind of gauge as to, hey, am I going to have some money there? How am I going to work things out? What do I got going? So I ended up that I had some deals in place,
Hmm.
and one of the deals was I, I picked up a 1950 Jackie Robinson.
Hmm.
So I was thrilled. I had that card, and I said, and I still had some money left over because it was kind of almost all trade. No, that was an all trade deal.
Hmm.
So I still had the money that I had brought, and I had a few more deals to go, a few more stuff. So to make a long story short, I ended up you know, trading the Jackie
I
Robinson.
remember that.
And I picked up to another collector that also kind of follows me and stuff. Actually, a friend of one of the guys that I did a deal with, also that I've done deals with in the past, and he's just a commenter on the channel. And he introduced me to this guy, and he had that Walter Johnson autograph photo that came from Walter Johnson's, personal collection.
Right.
And when I saw that, I wanted it. But the guy, I didn't have enough cash. He wanted a certain amount of money cash. I didn't have it. So I said, "Are you willing to trade?" So when I showed him the Jackie, he said, "Whoa, okay, I'm interested in the Jackie." It was a pretty nice Jackie. So he looked at the Jackie, and then we worked something out where it was the Jackie and a little bit of cash, and I ended up getting the Walter Johnson
Nice.
photograph.
That's a beautiful autograph.
Yeah, and sold a few other stuff, and I picked up a few other things there at the National, the Nuke Rockney, the 1935 Chickle. So I picked that up, and so that's kind of my game right now.
Yeah, no,
it's the way I got to do it. So that's what I'm in the process of doing now.
Nice.
What am I gonna do for Strongsville? Because it's just getting closer and closer.
Yep. So I know you're going through your collection now to figure out what cards you're gonna be open to trading. Is there any specific card you're looking to trade them for? You shooting for any sort of specific goal card? You're just going to go and kind of see what's there and see what's interesting?
I always go to see what's there.
Okay.
That's my first thing, because if I go there with a specific card in mind, but I find something there that's pretty rare that I've never seen before, I just may go for that. And that's what happened to me with the Walter Johnson photograph. I'm not a photograph guy, and I'm not, I do like autographs, but that's not my line. But I wanted, Walter Johnson to me is one of the guys I like to collect.
Sure.
The best pitcher ever in this history, basically. So, that's one thing I jumped on. But usually what I do is I go through the room, and it's going to be pretty easy, I think, in Strongsville. You go through the room, take a look at what's in there, and then I'll make some moves after that. I'm going for pre-war mostly. That's what I'm going to be looking for. But there are some cards that if I find, talked about Hank Aaron. I was looking at my Hank Aaron cards. I don't have the Aaron rookie card.
You don't?
I do not. So
that's a nice card. You should pick one up.
Yeah, and I never picked it up because I've always wanted it. When I went down the pre-war hole, I always say, well, I can get the Aaron. There's a lot of them out there. I can find one. I can find a nice one. I'll take my time, but I never focused on doing that. So instead, I got whatever, saved the money for a bigger card or a Ruth or something like that. But as I'm going through my Aaron cards, and I got them here because I just did a video on that.
Oh, nice.
So I was going through my Aaron cards. I'm going. I've got some good ones. I mean, but I don't have the rookie. Here's the 56, the second year in a 6.
Yeah, let me put you on full screen if I could figure out how to do that. Oop, no.
Yeah.
Undo that. What am I doing here? Sorry.
If you can, it's all right. So anyway, so that's I've got the second year, and my favorite is the 56. And that one, yeah. So I got this one in a 7, and I got the other one in a 6. So, and I've got a few more there. So if I can pick up, I think there, I'm back.
Ooh, jeez. Okay, I'm done trying to play with that.
Don't worry. I always like to show some cards because now we're just gonna be talking all the time. But
absolutely.
So as I look at, I'm saying, you know what? I got the second and the third card, and I got a few others, and I'm thinking, what I want to do with players like that is I want to maybe get 4 or maybe 6 of my favorite cards of that player, because Aaron's got. Look. Here, watch. These are all my Aaron cards. All of these are Hank Aaron's.
Nice.
Now, do I need all of these? No, I don't, you know. I don't need all of those. I could probably get rid of some of these guys,
Sure.
you know, and do something else with
I mean,
with,
would you
with
be open to trading out some of the like late 50s into the 60s Aaron's for his rookie card? So you'd have like his rookie and then his 55 and 56.
yeah, that's what I'm looking to do. Maybe trade some
Nice.
of his later ones, or maybe, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've got a lot of options. So I mean, here's a 65.
Mm,
So, and that's in a 6. So maybe I take that. It's not worth a lot of money, but you know, all these things add up. And you know, if I can maybe trade up to the rookie,
mm,
you know, I could still keep maybe 5 or 6 of my better Aaron cards,
mm-hmm,
and now I'll have the rookie and all, and some of the, because I'm not a guy that's going to be doing runs. I did the Mantle run,
mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to be doing, you know, player runs like that. I'm not at my age at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've done 2 player runs. I've done Nolan Ryan, and then I'm kind of doing DiMaggio. I have a couple like really tough ones left to pick up, but I get it. It's hard because it takes a long time. It's expensive to do a player run, and my personal issue with the player run is there's very few players where I like every single one of their cards. So then I spend a good amount of money on specific cards that I don't really like that much just to finish the run when I could have used that money to pick up cards that I would have enjoyed, seeing more.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, that's the issue. You know,
Mm,
when you go over your collection after a while, there are some cards that you're just not in love with anymore.
mm,
You know, and do you want to keep them around, or
mm.
what are you going to do? So for me, you know, hopefully, you know, when we talked about, you asked what I'm looking, you know, maybe the Aaron rookie, something like that. But really, what
Nice.
I'm looking for is to find something, you know, like a Hannes Wagner,
Oh,
something like that. You know, if I can find one of Hannes Wagner, or maybe I don't have, you know, other than, I think I have a couple of little cheapy Hannes Wagners, but I like to get a, you know, just an old a caramel,
sure.
or just, you know, if I could find the M101, you know,
Mm,
that would be the ideal one to get for me, I think,
mm.
as far as Hannes Wagner, and maybe a Ty Cobb of the M101, or you know, I
There's
couldn't
there's
find
that
it.
there's that M101-2, the full page one where it's Cobb and Wagner shaking hands. That'd be a cool one.
That'd be a cool, but I'm more into the, you know, I'm going to
Into
get some,
cards that are card size. You don't
yeah.
want a slab that's the size of like a tray.
I've got already a whole, I've got a bunch of those already, and I think, you know, I'm trying to narrow down to a non oddball type stuff,
Hmm.
you know, because I
Hmm.
think for my collection, as far as, you know, being a little more, I don't want to go that crazy in the future. If anything happens and my family needs to sell some stuff,
Hmm.
if you get something that's so much oddball stuff, you know, who knows? They'll never know what that is.
And that's tough, right? Because a lot of times, if you have something that's very rare, oddball, and you need to sell it quickly, you have to do an auction, right? I mean, unless you could find
Yeah.
somebody like in the community that knows what it is and is willing to buy it. But a lot of times, you're probably going to have to do an auction with that, and that takes a lot. Obviously, that takes time.
Well, that's good. A lot of my stuff is going to be going to auction. I mean, that's pretty much what I told my family.
Mm,
But there's some things that, you know, I'm going to try past some YouTubers. There's some items that some YouTubers have said, if you ever want to sell, if you're ever going to sell this piece, let me know. So, you know, I'm definitely going to do that first. Any friends, always pass on some collection, some of my items to people that I know are going to appreciate it.
absolutely.
You know, and you know, it's not really all about the money. You know, when I sold Don that Beecher card, uh, I could have sold it for more money.
Mm,
You know, I really could have, but I knew he wanted it. I just, you know, we were friends, and you know, what's a few $100s between friends, you know?
100%, 100%. I actually, I don't sell cards very often, but I have one of my viewers actually sent me an email and asked me if I'd be open to selling my 48 Bowman Warren Spawn to him. He said he really liked that card, and I just sold it to him last week, and I am not good at selling, so it was a 5, and I comped it to him at a 4, and then sent it. And I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. I
Well, you
mean,
know
again,
what?
at the end of the day, he wanted that card really bad. It wasn't necessarily a card that it kind of aligns with my direction where I'm going with the collection. So I was happy to do the deal.
Yeah.
And I
So,
mean, and that's speaking of doing deals
mm,
at Strongsville. We're going to have the four collectors trade night one night. So
right.
we've got the collectors trade night four collectors trade night one night. I'm assuming we're going to have the YouTube get together one night. Um, what are your plans of stuff to do there outside of going to the show? Right, you're gonna go to both of those. Obviously, we're going to find time to break bread. You and I need to go eat a meal together.
My goal is to spend as much time as I can out of the room
Mhm.
as in the lobby and in the show,
Perfect.
or going, because you know how the lobby is.
Yeah.
Everybody hangs out at the lobby there at the place, and then and go out with everybody. I mean, I want to spend as much time as I can with as many people as I can.
Hmm.
That's really my goal. If I come out of there with no cards, which I won't, I'll pick up something. But even
Hmm.
if I don't come out there with any big cards or anything like that, just hanging around everybody else is going to be more than well worth it. I mean, more than worth it. 'Cause
100% with you. I
to
think
me, yeah,
that's how I felt last year. I bought nothing the first day, and I was a little cranky because of that. But then we all went out to dinner that night, and it was such a blast. And I thought to myself at the dinner, I'm like, you know what? Even if I don't pick anything up, this makes it worthwhile. And then the next day, I got the advice of break the seal and buy something, and that worked really well. Which is ironic because the card I was actually chasing there that I didn't get, you were with me at the national when I found it. Well, I didn't even
that's
find it.
right.
You and I were looking in the case, and my dad was there, and he pointed the card out. And I'm like, "What card are you pointing at?" And he's like, "The one you said you can't find anywhere." I'm like, "Oh yeah, there it is."
And it's funny because we were both looking in the case and we were looking at all the other cards. I think there was like some Jackies there and stuff, some really nice. It was a
Yeah, he
nice
had some
dealer.
Ruths. He had a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah, and for some reason I missed it and you missed it, and you had told me this is what I'm looking for. But yeah, thank God that he saw that and he's like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah, no, that was
I'm so glad you got that because that really made your national right there. That was the big one of the big cards that you got.
yeah, I was really happy to pick that one up, and it was funny. I remember I was telling somebody the story about how when I picked it up, I saw the card and I asked the guy, I'm like, what can you do on it? And he's like, I really can't do much on this one. And you were like, oh yeah, he's like, you could if you don't come down here, you could probably find another one. The guy's like, well, all right, yeah, I'll give you like 300 off. I'm like, all right, and I took it. And as soon as I got it, you're like, oh, awesome, that thing's so rare, not gonna
I
find
know.
another one. I was like, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I mean that guy he didn't want to budge. He didn't want to
Mm-mm.
budge at all on the price. And I don't blame him
Yeah,
because
I would have paid. I would have bought it for full price.
even though you and I know that at least I didn't see another one of those at the show, you
Mm-mm.
know,
I
but
haven't
still,
seen one for sale in like the last year because I've been looking for a year and a half for that card. Even since I picked it up, I haven't seen another one for sale.
yeah. But sometimes I do that. Sometimes you just tell the dealer, hey, you're not even gonna budge, and let them know you're gonna walk away.
Mhm.
And then once he sees that you're gonna walk away, because think about it, Aaron, and I used to be a dealer, so how many people do you think asked them about that specific card? Probably not many.
Right,
I mean, it's not like it's a Hank Aaron rookie. I mean,
right.
many people don't know what it is, are not looking for that card, don't know much about it, and or may missed it like you that was looking for it.
That was
So
literally looking at the physical
yeah,
card and didn't actually see it somehow. Yes.
the way he had it in the case and things like that, it was kind of a little bit. So I mean, you know, when you get as a dealer, you get somebody interested in that, and you see, shoot, he's gonna walk away. Then you gotta see if you can do something on there. So at least he gave you a little bit of a discount there. That worked
Hey,
out a little bit.
I was just
You were
happy
gonna
that
buy
he
it
had the
anyway at
card.
this point, I think.
Right. Nice. Well, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to Strongsville. That's going to be a blast. We got a lot of at least there's a bunch of new people coming this year that I know. Tony actually, who you were just hanging out with, he'll be there. But yeah, there's a bunch of new guys coming, so I'm excited. Super excited to see you. Super excited to see everybody else. So let's move off the Strongsville topic. We'll get back to just like channel stuff in general, right? Who I guess it's kind of a when we make videos, obviously you and I aren't, I wouldn't say you and I are, I mean, you more, much more so than me. We're not necessarily like influencers, right? We like to show cards and talk about cards that interest us and talk about topics that interest us. Um, we're not doing it to try to drive people to purchase certain cards or anything. But that being said, how does being on YouTube, what channels or just in general, how does doing YouTube influence kind of the direction you go when you go look to pick up a new card?
Um, I've collected by myself for so many years that I try not to get really influenced too much because I try to stay in my lane. I know what
Hmm.
I want, I know what I'm going for, and I try to, you have to be focused. Really, Darren, you got to be focused. If not, you're just going to go all over the place. But
I
like
know.
always, yeah. But like always, there are certain things that I think what influences me are things that I didn't know about, that I've been around a long time, but there's stuff that I still hadn't seen or hadn't heard of or hadn't stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and for example, Ryan at Breakout Cards,
Hmm.
he's kind of been one that's influenced me because of the non-sports end of the business of the collecting,
Hmm.
I guess. Um, you know, I've gotten in years ago. I got into the 19th century cards, but I never got into the non-sports end
Hmm.
of that. And meeting him, and he was really the first guy that I had met, and it went through a deal that we had emailed, and we were going to meet up at the National in Atlantic City to make that deal. And that's how I got to know him. And you know, he's this guy's super knowledgeable,
Hmm.
and people don't realize. I mean, he grew up in the business. His dad owned a card shop, and he's been in the business for since he was a kid. He grew up in it,
Sure.
and he went through the what a lot of people go through. Collecting vintage from 70s, 60s, and 50s, the golden era.
Hmm.
And once you do that for a long time, and you kind of see the same cards over and over, for me and for some people, you go back to try to you know uncover some other things in the
Right.
history of the hobby. So he influenced me because he was doing a lot of that. And it's funny because I'm 40 years older than him, but we're both just collectors and we're both the same. And I'll talk to him like I'm talking to you, and it's we hang out like if it's two 60-something-year-olds talking with a lot of knowledge in their head about card collecting.
uh,
So, but yeah, everybody kind of gets a little influence, but you have to be careful that you don't dive in too deep and then realize what, this is not really the direction I want to go in. So I do collect a little bit here and there just to kind of get a sample, is what I call it. Kind of
mm,
like what Mangini does, get a little
yeah.
sample
Uh,
here and there. So I have, I'll get a few, well, I won't show now, but, I'll pick up a few non-sports here and there that I think I like and have some meaning.
mhm.
So that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I try to stay in my lane, and my lane is really the pre-war, going down to the 19th century pre-war. Early pre-war.
Nice. Well, I will say I'm kind of similar. I don't have nearly the experience in the hobby that you have. So when I got on YouTube, there was all the cards I remember from when I was a kid, and I was getting back into it. And I'm never really influenced to buy because of watching anybody's channel, but like you mentioned, for me, it was really big to watch people's videos and learn about sets that I was not aware of. And I think a lot of the cards that I've picked up, especially in the last year, have been cards that I wasn't aware of from sets I wasn't necessarily aware of that I saw other people showing. So like for me, that's kind of how for me, like for you, YouTube, for me is more of a learning experience, and watching people's videos, and picking up stuff that I'd never heard of. Like I've learned stuff from you, like all the pre 1900 stuff. I learned most of the stuff that I know about it from you, and I've picked up in the last year. I picked up some cool pieces from back then, different types of cards, and learning about the different sets from you. It's so I appreciate that. So you've influenced my collecting.
Well, I mean, I think what I'm trying to do is just kind of just kind of share some knowledge, some history. I mean, I'm not trying to really influence people, but to let people know that there's other stuff out there that
Mhm.
you may not have seen. And you know, you can't do it for clicks and stuff like that, because you're just not going to get it.
Right.
We were talking earlier. I did a video on showing my Ken Griffey cards.
Mm.
All right. It's gotten one of the most viewed videos that I've done. It got 4,000 views. For me, that's huge.
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't got anything that, other than the Strongsville video that got like 5,000. I'm not getting anything. And then I show the rare Goodwin Champion tennis card that I picked up of Dwight, who's the founding father of tennis, the one who originally started the tournaments and stuff like that. One of the really, he started everything with tennis. Nobody even knows who it is. So I put that video up, 100 views.
Mm.
And
And-
it's a rare card. There's only
yeah.
two graded higher from the one that I have. It's a rare card in high grade, and nobody cares. Nobody looks at it. But you know what? I put it out there because, I want people to know about it and know about the history of this person.
Mm.
And the thing is, Darren, that if you think about these videos, unless we take them down, they're going to be up there for what, 50 years, 100 years? Who knows?
Right. Who
Who
knows?
knows how long it's going to be out there? And all these videos that people are doing, which is the news and all the I won't talk about the whatnot issue, all that stuff. Nobody's going to care about anything about that kind of stuff. But people may go back and see, hey, look at this card and look at this video. And a lot of my videos, I have people that have commented on videos that I put a year ago, because the videos are not the type of videos that are like current. They're just
Mhm.
teaching history type videos and things like that.
Yeah.
So I rather do that. That's the kind of stuff I want to do. Versus doing the daily. PSA. Oh, sorry, Greg. PSA has changed their standards and this and that. PSA changed their standards a long time ago. They've changed them all the time. People just don't realize it.
Mm.
Remember, PSA never had half grades. They changed
Yeah.
their standards from when I sent in my 53 tops manual, there were no half grades. It was graded a 6.
Mm.
And then I got pissed because about a year later, now they have 6.5s.
Right.
And PSA wanted you to resubmit the card again to reevaluate it, see if it's going to be a 6 or a 6.5,
Right.
because they didn't have 6.5. So, I mean, these are things that have happened, and they're happened in the past, and they're going to continue to happen.
Mm.
So for me, I'll let the other guys, the sports card dad and then Greg and Mike Junkrack's Hero, they can do all the news and all that stuff. For me, I'm just going to continue to do my videos on showing cards and the history of cards and the players that are on the cards, and why did they make a card of this guy? I mean, that's the way I
Mm.
look at it. I mean,
Yeah.
Think about it. You must have been famous back in the day that they made a card of you, you know?
100%. No, and I think that's great. I think, and that's the one thing I do like about the community because there's certain there's certain guys like you and like Dave Blue Jacket and Andrew Nuffsaid who make videos about, you know, videos you could watch 10 years from now if you want to learn about a specific topic, because the stuff you guys talk about, it's you're talking about vintage specific stuff that obviously isn't going to change. And then you've got, obviously, like you said, you got other guys. You got, you know, my buddy Greg and Junk Wax Hero, for collectors, right? You have a bunch of guys that talk about what's going on in the hobby, and I like that too, right? Because then you can say, oh, you know, hey, news is going on. Here's what's going on. Everybody's kind of keeps everybody in the loop, and I think that's a good. And I like that, right? Because then we could get our news, we could hear stories, we could learn about these different cards, we could see some, you know, amazing stuff,
I,
and
Darren,
keeps everything really well rounded. And it's nice because I think the people that do it, they have their niche, right? Like
yeah,
you're excellent at your niche. Greg's excellent at his niche. Junk Wax excellent at his niche. Mike Baseball Collectors excellent at his, right? And I think it's good, right? People find their niche, and then they bring the most value to the community from that. And I think that's awesome
mhm.
across the board. I think it really is. And actually, it's funny you mentioned something earlier about when you talked about your Walter Johnson autograph, and then saying you're not like you're not a huge autograph guy. I actually me I'm kind of the same. Of I have a bunch of autographs that are not, I mean, they're cool autographs, but they're not incredibly rare or anything like that. Um, but one of the things I've found myself doing more recently is looking at more and more autographs and kind of even changing a little bit how I collect, right? Like I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I bid on a football card recently. I'm looking at a couple basketball cards, and then obviously some autographs, and you know, I've been a pure baseball, more or less pure. I have a few
Yeah.
in in this
I mean,
case. I have a couple, but more or less in the last 2 years, I've bought nothing but baseball.
yeah. I mean, I have autographs. I have a few rookie card autographs. There's the Orlando Cepeda.
Nice,
So I have a few. I've got there's a Steve Carlton
nice.
autograph there. This is the Minoso that I picked up. I showed that earlier.
Oh, yeah, it's
Autograph,
beautiful.
54 Roman autograph, and just a few others. Here's a K-line autograph card. So I mean, I have some, but I'm not. You know, I got them in trade.
Right.
If I see that I've got, guy, there's a guy that has a lot of autograph cards that goes to the Fort Lauderdale card show,
Mhm.
and every once in a while, he's looking for something, and I'll do a trade with him,
Right
and
on.
so a lot of those, I don't have a problem doing that, because it's still a good card. I mean, I'll take the Steve Carlton rookie autograph, sure, yeah,
Sure.
I'll do a deal with that.
Sure.
But for the
So,
most part, I'm trying to stay focused, and I'm not going to be going out there and searching for a lot of that stuff.
mm,
And for Walter Johnson, if it would have been just maybe, let's say, an index card with Walter Johnson's autograph, I probably wouldn't have really gone for it. But since it was something so unique,
sure.
really a one of a kind piece, and that's the kind of stuff that I'd like to go for when it's something that nobody else is going to have, or you're never going to see that again.
Mm.
You know,
No,
but
and yeah, that I agree with you. And that's cut some of the autographs I have. I kind of feel the same way about, where I picked them up because I thought they were just really interesting.
mhm.
And but yeah, I think right now with where I am with, there's a lot of cards still on my list for baseball, but there's a lot fewer than there were a year ago, and I'm getting ready to. I'm thinking maybe of expanding. We'll see. But I did have a question about the autograph cards. If you hypothetically are at Strongsville and you have budget when you trade, you know, you make your deals, wheeler dealer, you're right. You got you have a nice pile of cash after the first day or first day and a half. If they had a like a Hank Aaron rookie in say like a 7, like a really clean one in a 7, or they had a Hank Aaron rookie in, say, a well-centered 3 or 4, but it was autographed by Hank Aaron, which of those 2 would you go with?
For me, I'd go with the Hank Aaron, not autographed.
Okay.
You know, I'm old. I'm old school. I'd rather have that one because, like I said, I some people would say, "Oh, but in the future, the Hank Aaron autograph rookie is going to be worth more." Maybe it is. I'm not sure about that.
Right.
You know, there's autograph cards, vintage autograph cards right now probably are the hottest thing,
Mhm.
and the prices are as pretty high right now. I mean, really, when you think about it, and some of these guys like Hank Aaron, he signed a ton.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it you know, even Mantle signed a bunch. Um, so they're going to be out there. And also, so are the Hank Aaron rookie card. But I think that a Hank Aaron rookie card in a 7, nicely centered, is something that'll always be in demand. And I think that, you know, in a higher grade like that will always command a high price. And most collectors are going to go with the not signed version. If you look at a lot of people on YouTube, because you got to think that YouTube guys, there's a lot of TTMers and all that stuff, but the majority of collectors are not on YouTube. Many more, you know, when you got 1% of collectors are on YouTube, maybe.
Right.
The majority of the ones that I see out there and I talk to do not collect autograph cards.
Mhm.
They'll collect nicely centered, you know, vintage
Mhm.
cards that are not autographed. You know, maybe it changes in the future, but I think in my the years I have left in my collecting years, I mean, you know, you're younger than me. You know, you're what, in your 40s?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'm in my late 60s. So for
You
me,
don't look it, by the way.
well, thanks, I appreciate that. So, but for me, you know, I'm going to stick with what's got me here, which is
Sure.
the standard, you know, rookie card, PSA 7, SGC 7, Hank Aaron. I'd love that.
Mhm. Nice. Okay. That's something you just said. It's actually a really good point. I think we could take it back to one of the earlier points of when in your acceptance speech, you mentioned the importance of people commenting, but also the importance of people just getting on and making videos. And I think a point you just made is very valid to that. I think a lot of people say, well, I don't know if the stuff I'm going to show is going to be interesting. So I don't know if I want to do the channel. I think anyone should. And to your point, there's so many collectors out there whose collections are so far beyond what 99% of YouTubers have in their collections that everything is kind of tiered, right? Like you, if you're interested in making videos and you collect like junk wax era cards, make the videos because there's a lot of people that are interested in that, right? Kind of going back to Orlando's point of you know videos that make sense to you with the number of views. I did a 86 tops pack break video like a year and a half ago and 2 years ago, and that has more views than my video where I showed my shoeless Joe Jackson playing days card, right? So I think it's important that people that are interested potentially making videos, whatever you collect is interesting to you, and it's also interesting to everybody else. And the other thing too is when people make videos, even if they think the card is not that interesting, when they make the video and they show the passion and the excitement and like the love for the card, it makes everyone else, regardless of what they collect, excited to watch it, right? So I just kind of going back, kind of bridging that, you know, there's people that watch videos and say, oh, I don't want to make videos because these people, I don't, you know, these people have some incredible cards and I don't really have cards like that. Well, that's fine because you take the guys on YouTube that have the best cards and you compare those to some of the guys that aren't on YouTube and you're like, oh, well, again, massive gap. Like we met our friend Dave at the National
Yeah.
and
Wow.
you know, his collab. I mean, he,
It blew me away.
yeah, I mean, he,
Just what he had with him.
Yeah, just that he had in his bag, right?
Yeah.
He had individual cards that are worth more than my entire collection. He had multiple of them that are worth more than my entire
One
collection. But
one card that was worth more than my collection.
yeah, and the thing that's funny about that is when he watches my videos, he gets excited for me when I pick up a card that's like, not that expensive, right? And it's not because he sees it and says, "Oh, wow, I wish I had that card." He sees it and says, "Oh, what? That's a card I know that Darren wanted, and I see the excitement of him showing it, so he gets excited." And I think that's important for people to know that are interested in making videos. Is it's not what you're showing, but really more of like just getting out there and letting people know that this is the stuff I'm interested in, because there's so many different types of ways to collect. There's always going to be a lot of people that collect similarly to you, no matter how you collect, and everybody will be interested in that. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
I think
service statement for the video.
to sum it up, what Darren just said is be yourself, right?
Yes,
Just be
exactly.
yourself. Be yourself and just share your collection and talk about it. And, just look, in the beginning, I'll admit I was really nervous, doing videos, and because I'm pretty shy, really. And this has really helped me, open up. But I wouldn't even show, I still won't show my face. you know, you get nervous. You get nervous. And what am I going to say? And me, that I don't edit, I just go ahead and turn the
Mm,
camera on. I think, okay, what am I going to say? Okay, boom, turn the camera on and start talking. And at the beginning, yeah, you're going to be a little nervous. You make mistakes, but you know what? It's okay because people are going to watch it. I remember people would say, "Hey, you said this, but it's this." Oh yeah, sure, I know. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that.
mm,
But people understand, that everybody makes mistakes and that you're just,
yeah,
talking, so for me, it was just start talking and be yourself. And as you go along and the more you do, the more comfortable you get. And then it just becomes more natural. And now I just, you just, people just want to know what you're up to,
right.
sometimes, and what you're doing. And, did you pick up something? What, just talk a little bit and see what's going on in your life. And it's almost like connecting with friends. And that's the way I
Absolutely.
see it now, and if I can get new people to look at it, new subscribers, that's great. But my goal is just kind of just stay in touch with everybody, let everybody know what I'm up to, and take you guys along for the ride, along with the journey. So this is what I'm doing, just like we talked today. This is my plan. So when we
Yeah.
get to Strongsville, I've been given a media pass there now, so
Nice.
I'm super happy because I can get in there with the dealers. So
Nice.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in there with the dealers, and I'm going to be the first guy in there to show video of Strongsville. So I'm going to try to, for you guys that are watching, you know, go to all the tables right when the dealer's set up. I'm hoping I can get in there, do all the video before the crowd gets in there, so you guys can see the prime stuff that's out there before Darren and Mike Petty buys it all up.
Right.
So that's kind of, we'll see how that goes. But I'm excited about that, and that's kind of the stuff that I get excited about, as you can see.
Hmm. And that's and for everybody watching, I'm sure everybody's seen them, but Orlando makes absolutely the best videos at shows. He does a fantastic job of explaining what you're looking at, of not going too fast, not going too slow. You get to see everything. You don't have to keep rewinding. So, oh wait, what was that? And he does a fantastic job. So I'm looking forward to it. When you post that, I'll be one of the guys waiting, in the very back of the line. And I'll watch your video while I wait a half hour to get in to go buy stuff. It's my preview. And by the way, I'm not buying everything this year. Tony is coming this year. So Tony and Mike Petty will be
Yeah,
buying everything this year.
yeah. Tony's got a plan.
Oh yeah, both of them have plans, and it's
Yeah.
fun to watch them execute on their plans for sure.
Well, that's what I'm going to be doing, hanging out with them, and hopefully we can, go out and, like you said, have dinner and stuff, or even if we
Absolutely.
just go to Chick-fil-A like we did last time,
I
Darren.
know. Yeah, the Chick-fil-A
Hey,
lunch was
I'm
great.
good with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Orlando, it's been a little over an hour, and I don't want to take too much of your time, but I do very much appreciate you coming on. It was great catching up. I know I wish we could talk more often. I miss you.
Yeah, I
But
miss you guys.
Yeah, it's always a blast to chat with you, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you in a couple months when we get to Strongsville.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. And if you did, let us know in the comments. If you finished the video, let us know you watched the whole thing. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.